تواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العلي العظيم.
In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. All praise is due to Allah, whose worth cannot be described by speakers, whose bounties cannot be counted by calculators, and whose claim to obedience cannot be satisfied by those who attempt to do so, whom the height of intellectual courage cannot appreciate, and the divings of understandings cannot reach. He for whose description no limit has been laid down, no eulogy exists, no time is ordained, and no duration is fixed. He brought forth creation through his omnipotence, dispersed winds through his compassion, and made firm the shaking earth with rocks. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. We thank Allah the Almighty for blessing us with this opportunity to once again serve Imam Hussein by delivering these lectures. As you are aware, Muhibban is solely run by the youth, and as a result, we rely on donations and volunteers to continue delivering events like this. I implore the youth that are sat here today to get involved and bring forth any initiatives they have in their minds which may be lacking in our communities. It is costly to deliver multiple night programs like this. For the continuation of not just religious events, but mental health awareness campaigns, fun days out, we need your financial support. At the back there is a donations table where you can collect standing order forms, and I implore you all to please contribute as much as you want. Salawat. We would like to invite Sister Zahra Mahabis to bless the majlis with her poetic words on the Ahlul Bayt. Salawat.
Assalamu alaikum. Deepest condolences to all of humanity on the beginning of this tragic month of Muharram. Tonight I wish to share with you a poem. Salawat. We begin this month in mourning and not in celebration. These are the nights we cry for the grandson of the best of creation. We bow our heads in sorrow as we remember the spears and the arrows that pierced each blessed body, leaving the desert red and bloody. Tonight, even the angels cry. So raise your voices, raise them high. To Zainab's calls, it's your chance to reply. Join her in mourning, for Hussein has died. Hussein has died, though death has lied, for you cannot bury a legacy such as his. And just as God says, be, and so it is. Hussein, though dead, Hussein still lives. On in our hearts and on in our minds, Hussein's message transcends through all of time. Where Zainab stands, shatters silence, and Abbas's hands paint the earth in red defiance. Enter Sajjad to continue the lineage of lions. See how bravery can make mere humans giants. History titles them slayers of tyrants. And we are honored to know these souls, for with such knowledge, blessings unfold. Tonight, the stars align, and here we gather by God's great design to mourn our Imam with the Imam of our time. Take your hearts to Karbala. Place yourself there with Abba Abdullah, even if you're the humble desert dust, or the dove that watches from up above. Perhaps you're the flag that blows in the wind. Helpless in this situation, you cannot prevent Shimr's sins, but you witness it all. You watch as the great 72 all fall. You hear the crack of every broken bone. The fire cackles alone, alone, and the women are screaming, Sajjad's barely breathing. The children may not make mourning. Death is now calling. Silence. Silence for a moment. Do you feel the earth shaking? I believe Zainab's back is now breaking. Upon the hill, Fatima too watches in horror, for neither can she prevent this terror. See how Fatima went to Karbala in search for a body, but a body she would not find. With hands in one place, head in another, there lays Hussein's beloved brother Abbas, Ya Abbas, the flag bearer. This pain hurts her more than her broken rib. And what was the crime of Al-Azghar? Why must a baby no longer live? Must children die of thirst? Death in Karbala or death in Sham? For Ruqayya, tell me, what is worse? Cry on these nights, shed a tear for Hussein. For us he gave his life, can we not share his pain? On Ashura, the oppression of the Ahlul Bayt reached its peak. But for all those who are oppressed, Karbala speaks. Shall we not cry for Hussein? When we know for our pain, Mahdi weeps. I make a promise on these nights, when I read Ziyarat Ashura, to take my heart to Karbala, and I ask Ya Allah, when tears begin to blur my eyes, allow me to see without sight, allow me to cry yet still recite, let me say that blessed name, let me lament over Hussein, for I have come as a broken slave, to read that which unites me with the one who is a reminder to be brave, be brave. When my many and my heart weighs heavy, I shall remember you, Ya Aba Abdullah, you who all yet still said Alhamdulillah, and with one final breath you met death still proclaiming La ilaha illallah. O Allah, make me worthy of respect with you through Hussein. Peace be upon him both in this world and the hereafter. Allahumma ja'alni indaka wajihan bil Hussein alayhi salam fi dunya wal akhirah. From eyes all over, tears descend. To heaven the souls of saints ascend. But don't limit your cries to days of 10. Don't allow your mourning to so easily end. Salawat.
Thank you, sister, for those poetic words. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ali ibn al-Hussein approaches his father. Why are you praising God and repeating the verse of returning to him? My son, he answered. I nodded off and a horseman appeared to me, riding a horse, and he said, men are traveling and the fates travel towards them. Then I knew it. It was our own souls announcing our death towards us. Father, does God regard you as evil? Are we not in the right? Indeed we are, by him to whom all his servants must return. Father, said Ali ibn al-Hussein, then we need have no concern if we are going to die righteously. May God give you the best reward a son can get, Imam Hussein said to Ali ibn al-Hussein. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Before I invite Sister Fatima al-Hakim to share her poetic words, could I humbly request all parents to please keep their children under control so that the majlis can run smoothly. Secondly, can all the brothers move as far close as possible, please? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Whilst you're moving forward, can you also move towards your right so that the brothers can come easily? Salawat. I'd like to invite Sister Fatima al-Hakim to share her poetic words. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum. My condolences go out to you all on the martyrdom of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein, and in his name, please recite aloud salawat. As the days of Ashura begin to unfold, there is a change in the atmosphere. As story after story is told, our hearts begin to shake in fear. Our eyes begin to swell with tears, for each story that we hear, we know, leads to the one where Hussein's head is found resting upon a spear. This story that began as Hussein left the Hujjaj, left the house of God, left the city of our Prophet Ibrahim, with Hussein taking off the white cloth of his ihram, knowing that when in Karbala, as his body is torn limb to limb, no white cloth would then shroud him. Hussein left the hundred circulating the Kaaba, all calling Labbaik, to then stand alone and cry for an echo of those calls as Zainab's heart would break at the sight of her brother breaking, asking, pleading for a drop of water, saying, if not for me, then for the infant's sake. O Bani Umayyah, to this reality awake. None of this world's riches but your deeds into your graves you will take. Only fools of yourselves on the day of judgment you will make. O Bani Umayyah, awake. If not for me, then for the infant's sake. The story that Zainab then would narrate, it she would tell, explaining her state amongst the battle. As she looked to her left for comfort, but all of her loved ones had already left. She'd look to the right, but it was also wrong. The tears, the fear in the eyes of the orphans, the flames, the breaking of a rib. It was also familiar to a memory, to a door that she so wanted to knock on for comfort, but it had already burnt down. Her mother's door had already burnt down, and within the midst of it all, Zainab hears not a sound, but the faint echo of Fatima's voice. Fidda, aid me, Fidda, aid me. Hussein had Abbas, Zahra had Fidda, and Zainab, the orphan of Karbala, stood alone. But despite the tragedies which she was shown, the daughter of Ali never failed to raise her head, to look ahead, to stand in the palace of the tyrant who decapitated her brother's head and said, we the Ahlul Bayt are a ship of salvation, and Hussein leads us as the head. She persevered, and she wasn't fazed, although tragedy after tragedy she faced. The Queen of Sham refused to let her family be in shame, and though like waves her calamities came, she knew that just like the tides would retreat her pain. Hussein. And how much patience did this queen have who saw her kingdom break before her eyes, who saw her nights fall and his soul rise, who prayed in the night, knowing what was to happen with sunrise. Hussein. And of Hussein to his sister what was to remain, with his nur-lit face and a blood-drenched beaten body that rested separately on the plains, but a memory, one that will be carried on to eternity. For how could we not mourn his death, when it's his death that shapes the way that we live? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Thank you, sister. I've just got information that there is a room at the back for women with toddlers if they want to take them. That's at the back available. So now I'd like to call on Sheikh, but before I do, just a quick introduction. Sheikh Muhammad Abbas Panju was born in Nairobi, Kenya, where he grew up and completed his O-level studies. Upon completion of his O-levels in Kenya, Sheikh migrated to the US to pursue his college studies. He then moved to Canada where he completed his university degree. Sheikh then decided to migrate to Syria to pursue Islamic studies at the Hawza level. Having served as resident alim for 5 years in London, the Sheikh now manages the Imam Hussein Development and Relief Foundation that focuses on humanitarian and relief aid in Iraq. So with the loudest of your salawats, could you please invite him, and whilst you stand up to greet him, could you please move forward once again? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
رحم الله من قرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله بارئ الخلائق الأجمعين، باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء، حبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد. ثم الصلاة والسلام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما ولي الله الحجة ابن الحسن صاحب الأمر والزمان. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. روحي وأرواح العالمين له الفداء، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله، يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، يا غريب الغرباء، يا مظلوم كربلاء. السلام على من جعل الله الشفاء في تربته. السلام على من الإجابة تحت قبته. السلام على ساكن كربلاء. فيا ليتنا ثم يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي، يا سادتي، فنفوز فوزا عظيما. قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فخرج منها خائفا يترقب، قال ربي نجني من القوم الظالمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم وآمنا به. زينوا مجالسكم بذكر محمد وآل محمد. Karbala the greatest sacrifice mankind has ever witnessed. Karbala is that sacrifice that was ordained by Allah Azza wa Jal, the creator of everything in existence, even before existence came into existence. Karbala is that revolution that was a secret passed from one Nabi to another. Karbala is that revolution whose seeds were planted when the door of Sayyidah Zahra was burnt. Karbala is that revolution that took shape when Amir al-Mu'mineen was struck while in sujood in the mihrab. Karbala took form when Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba was poisoned. And you find from here, this Karbala is a revolution that was ordained, as we said, before the beginning of existence. Took place on the 60th year after Hijrah. And Karbala continues today. And the final part of this revolution is upon the dhuhur of Maulana Sahib al-Amri wa Zaman. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. فأنتم أحبائي, you are blessed and have a particular tawfiq from Allah Azza wa Jal to sit and participate in the majlis of Aba Abdullah. Hadith al-Sharif mentions that the daughter of Rasulullah, Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen, who is this Zahra alayha salam? Rasulullah says, Inna Allah yardha li ridhat Fatima wa yaghdab li ghadabiha. The happiness of Fatima is the happiness of Allah. The anger of Fatima is the anger of Allah. Maulana Imam al-Sadiq says, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Our mother Fatima looks at those who are present in the commemoration of the martyrdom of her son Hussein, to paraphrase the hadith. For with your presence, you give condolences to Sayyidat Nisa al-Alameen, for a woman who saw nothing but tragedy, who endured nothing but tragedy in the way of Islam, enter. My dear brothers, my dear sisters, have this in your mind without a doubt, that when you come to majalis such as these, and you grant your condolences, you convey your condolences to the daughter of the Prophet, on this lady who has witnessed much tragedy, you put a smile on her face. The happiness of Fatima is the happiness of Allah. In order for us to benefit from the azama, from the greatness, and tap into this electrical divine energy that emanates from the Majalis Husseini, a person has to have his niyyah set from day one. Why are you coming to the majlis? What do you want to benefit from the majlis? How is this majlis going to determine your future? A person contemplates over these, and you tap into this electric vault of spirituality that emanates within a majlis Husseini. Having said this, Ahibbai, you find that When you were to analyze, or if you were to analyze the historical factors that led to the revolution of Ashura on the plains of Karbala, you find that the root cause for the crimes committed in Karbala was on the basis that the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in regards to the event of Ghadir was disobeyed. For the disobedience of the Ummah in regards to the message of Ghadir opened up a front of conflict within the Islamic Ummah and degradation, where people came and assumed the positions of leadership and used Islam as a justification to establish dictatorships. They used Islam as a reason and Islam as a justification for territorial expansion under force and religious censorship and bloodshed. And the Ummah every year upon the martyrdom of Rasulullah began to regress, until it got to a point where 60 years after the martyrdom of the Holy Prophet of Islam, less than half a century or just about half a century and 10 years more, the same Islamic Ummah that says Allahu Akbar and Ashhadu Anna Muhammadar Rasulullah are willing to slaughter the grandson of Rasulullah. We have to have wa'i. We have to be cognizant of our history, because our history shapes our present and will shape our future. Tonight, Ahibai, I want to discuss with you those factors of the revolution of Imam al-Hussein, in particular that surrounded Imam al-Hussein in Medina when he decided to leave the city of Medina towards Mecca. For indeed, his migration from Medina marks the first step of the actualization, from a historical Zahiri perspective, the first step towards this great revolution of Karbala. His migration from Medina. And for tonight, inshallah, as an opening lecture, we hope to analyze the circumstances, the historical circumstances, and inshallah the majalis over the next few nights is a mix of history and aqaid and tafsir and Quran, inshallah, things that are aqaid, beneficial, inshallah. History, analyzing the historical circumstances that led to Imam al-Hussein leaving Medina to go towards Mecca, and in essence the first step in this revolution of Ashura. The historians mention that for the 10 years that Imam al-Hussein lived after the martyrdom of Imam al-Mujtaba, that coincided with the time of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan al-La'in, the historians mention that the existence or the presence of Imam al-Hussein was a great threat to Muawiyah. He felt he was very cautious around Imam al-Hussein, and he felt threatened by his presence, because of the fact that Imam al-Hussein commanded a presence amongst the Islamic nation. The people within the Islamic Arabia viewed Imam al-Hussein from the lens of one who has a divine position. Khamisu Ashab al-Kisa, the only person who could set foot on this earth and claim to be, or claim to say that I was one of those upon him Ayat al-Tathir was revealed. The grandson of the Holy Prophet, the son of Zahra, unmatched in his sharaf and his honor. And this in itself was a threat to Muawiyah. Which is why you find that in the 10 years that Imam al-Hussein stayed in Medina after Sulh al-Hasan, after the martyrdom of Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Hussein kept up this sulh he abided by the same treaty and ceasefire that was planned by Imam al-Mujtaba. And within these 10 years, Muawiyah had planted spies within the city of Medina to keep an eye on the activities of Imam al-Hussein and report them back to Sham. If that the intelligence services of today have reached the peak of intelligence and surveillance and security, I tell you, they probably don't know anything when you look at the security apparatus and the intelligence that was used by Muawiyah and the likes of Bani Umayyah. Such that personal issues which would occur inside the house of Imam al-Hussein, the news would reach Muawiyah. You have that Marwan, who was the wali of Medina at that time, would have strict vigilance over Imam al-Hussein, such that every year after the Mawsam of Hajj and sometimes during the Mawsam of Umrah, if not throughout the year, there would be delegations of Muslims and Shia from Iraq, and particularly from the city of Kufa, who would come to Medina and visit Imam al-Hussein and take his opinion on social, economic, political and religious matters. And this was something of threat to Muawiyah, for he saw within Imam al-Hussein a competitive force for Khilafah. And you find that as these 10 years passed, and Muawiyah comes towards the end of his life, he had already put steps and employed steps to ensure that the Khilafah would be transferred to his son Yazid al-La'in. The appointment of Yazid as the Khalifa of Allah, this is something that is important for us to recognize. Yazid was not claiming to be a nominated leader by the people. Neither was Yazid claiming to be the throne or the heir in line to a throne because he comes from a monarchy. La, the basis of Yazid, his claim on the basis for which he was vouching for leadership, is that he is the Khalifa of Allah. And over here it's very important for us to recognize this title of Khalifatullah. When people who did not deserve this title committed crimes in the name of Islam, it is Islam as a religion that got tarnished. And this is the problem. Yazid to be appointed as the Khalifa of Allah. And Muawiyah knew that this is going to be a very tricky affair. And it's going to be extremely difficult to hold the inauguration of Yazid as the successor and the ruler of the Islamic Ummah, because the useless character of Yazid was something that was very well known by all people within the Islamic Ummah. His lack of capability and qualities, his lack of piety to say the least. And therefore Muawiyah was absolutely aware that when the time comes to declare the appointment of Yazid, the Ummah is going to be reluctant to pledge allegiance to him. And on the other hand, you have the likes of Hussein ibn Ali, where it is very probable he will stand up in revolution and the people just may support him. And if you understand this context, you find that the death of Muawiyah took place on the 15th of Rajab, according to majority of the historians, 60 AH. And traditionally, what had been the norm is that when the leader, regardless of whether he's the Imam of Haqq or Imam of Batil, but when the previous Khalif had passed, there would be a declaration, an open declaration that this Khalif has died and the next Khalif has been appointed or selected either by shura or appointment, whatnot, بِغَضِّ النَّظَرِ, without looking at whether it is haqq or batil. But there would be a trend. An open declaration and an open bay'ah. But you find that the situation of Yazid, it was so difficult. There needed to be a strategic plan in place by Bani Umayyah on how they could make a person as useless and as kafir as he could get. How could you designate him as the Khalif of the Muslims? There had to be a strategy and plan in order for this to be executed and for it to happen. And you find that a lot of the terminologies we want to use today are terminologies that we can relate to. For the historians mention that for the first time in this scale, the death of Muawiyah was concealed from the Islamic Ummah until Bay'ah was granted to Yazid by certain influential individuals within the Ummah. And you find that there was a total media blackout. The Islamic Ummah, who thinks Muawiyah is their leader, has passed from the dunya ila jahannam wa bi'sal masir, and the Ummah does not know that its head is dead. You can imagine how sensitive this situation is. Apply it to your own countries or to your own or to other countries. The head of state is dead and this news is concealed until the successor is secretly appointed through a secret mission. How sensitive is this? Which is why the narrations mention that on the death of Muawiyah a day later, Yazid al-La'in sends a letter to his governor in Medina by the name of Walid ibn al-Utbah. And he says to him, "O Walid, I want you to secure the pledge of allegiance from two individuals, Hussein ibn Ali and Abdullah ibn Zubair. If you are to get the pledge of allegiance from them, then the rest of the Muslim Ummah shall follow suit. Because if two influential individuals came and gave bay'ah, then the rest of the Ummah follows." Which is why the historians mention that in the middle of the night, past midnight, the messenger of Walid, the governor of Yazid al-La'in in Medina, sends out a messenger looking for Imam al-Hussein and Abdullah ibn Zubair. They find both Imam Hussein and Ibn Zubair in Masjid Nabawi, in the mosque of the Holy Prophet, in Ibadat and in Salat. And he passes a message saying that you have been summoned by the governor. Abdullah ibn Zubair looks at Imam al-Hussein and he says, "Why is it that the governor would invite us to his house in the middle of the night? Something does not look right." Imam al-Hussein says to him, "I saw in a dream last night, ru'ya sadiqah. There are some dreams that are true and some dreams that are false. The dreams of the Anbiya and the dreams of the Awliya are different from the dreams of the normal human being." Imam al-Hussein says, "I saw in my dream the death of Muawiyah, and perhaps we are being summoned to the house of the governor for the issue of Khilafah." For Imam al-Hussein goes to the house of Walid. In the middle of the night, in the darkness of the night, no witnesses. Walid says to Imam al-Hussein, "I wish for you to give bay'ah to Yazid." Imam al-Hussein says to him that a person like me cannot give bay'ah to Yazid in hiding. If you must seek bay'ah from me, then seek it from me in public. And from here, we understand the divine guidance that Imam al-Hussein had. Because Bani Umayyah were trying to conceal the fact that Muawiyah has died and there is a power vacuum and there is a plan, a lobby and a campaign to make Yazid the Khalifa. So they wanted Imam al-Hussein to give the pledge to Yazid before the death of Muawiyah becomes public, such that the next day Walid can go and say Muawiyah has died and Hussein has given bay'ah to Yazid. The entire Medina comes under the khilafah of Yazid. Imam al-Hussein understood this and recognized this. And so he said, ask me for the bay'ah in public. Because had the bay'ah been given in public, this would mean the ummah would be aware of the death of Muawiyah, which Bani Umayyah was trying to conceal. Walid writes a letter to Yazid, stating to Yazid that Hussein ibn Ali has refused to give the bay'ah except in public. Yazid writes back a letter saying that, secure the bay'ah from Hussein, else behead him and send his head to me in Sham. This is where? In Medina. Now, over here a question comes up. You have two individuals inside of Medina who are in opposition towards Yazid. Imam al-Hussein and Abdullah ibn Zubair. Does that mean that Abdullah ibn Zubair was also a good person and a person on haqq just because of his opposition towards Muawiyah? And from here we have rules that we're able to extract in life. Because a person would come and say, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yani Zubair, the enemy of Muawiyah. And therefore, Imam al-Hussein could have used this approach and embraced Abdullah ibn Zubair. But you find that Imam al-Hussein distinguishes himself from Ubaidullah ibn Zubair or Abdullah ibn Zubair by saying in the thesis or in the mission statement of his revolution, إني لم أخرج عشرا ولا بطرا ولا مفسدا ولا ظالما وإنما خرجت لطلب الإصلاح. I have not come out in revolution as an arrogant person or an insolent person, a person who creates mischief or corruption, or a person who is a tyrant. Rather, I have come out seeking justice and reformation. And from here we are able to understand that Imam al-Hussein is saying there are those people who come out in revolution not necessarily for haqq. Not everybody who comes out in revolution denotes truth. Imam al-Hussein makes this very clear. There are those who come out in revolution out of arrogance. There are those who come out in revolution to establish their own tyrannies and their own dictatorships. And perhaps Imam al-Hussein is pointing towards the likes of Abdullah ibn Zubair. Shahid. In any case, the historians mention that Walid calls and summons Imam al-Hussein for a second time to his house. And Marwan is sitting with him. Imam al-Hussein being summoned to the house of the governor for the second time. The historians mention that Imam al-Hussein goes home. He performs the ablution and he recites 2 rak'ah salah. Notice how salat is a central pillar in the revolution of Imam al-Hussein. He's been summoned by the governor of Medina, who is the governor of Yazid. In Medina, Imam al-Hussein, the first thing he does is salat. Yawm Ashura, in the middle of the battlefield, you find the Imam al-Hussein stop the war and recites salat. The importance of salat in our life. In any case, he recites 2 rakat salat. And he gathers 30 men from the Bani Hashim. Abu al-Fadil and Muslim bin Aqeel and Aliyun al-Akbar and the likes. The hadith or the historians mention that Imam al-Hussein asked them, the Bani Hashim, to escort him to the house of Walid ibn al-Utbah while they were dressed in their gear for battle. These are scenes, if you can say, that are not normal. You can imagine in a nice quiet residential area in like which we are over here in Manchester, Suddenly you find a contingency of people marching in military uniform with their weapons. It grabs your attention and shows you the seriousness of an issue that is at hand. And the same thing inside of Medina, between the alleyways from Masjid al-Nabawi and the house of Imam al-Hussein and Jannatul Baqi, you have a person like Abbas dressed in battle gear. He understands the severity of the situation. Imam al-Hussein goes to the house of Walid with these 30 men around him, protecting him. Imam al-Hussein says to them, I ask you to stand outside by the door. And if you hear me inside the house raise my voice, then I command you to come in and we shall engage in self-defense. The hadith mentions, or the historians mention, Imam al-Hussein walks in. Walid greets Imam al-Hussein and says to him, I ask you for a second time to give bay'ah to Yazid, for indeed Muawiyah is dead. Imam al-Hussein's reply is the same reply as the first time. A person like me cannot give bay'ah in secrecy. If you want the bay'ah, then get it from me in public with the rest of the people. And at this point, Marwan ibn Hakam, Marwan looks at Walid, and Marwan is those who are from the enemies of Rasulullah. His father and his forefathers were enemies and from the kuffar of Quraysh that waged war on Rasulullah. Marwan at that point says to Walid, O Walid, this is your opportunity to get the bay'ah from Yazid. If he refuses, then behead him here and there, here and now. And at this moment, Imam al-Hussein looks at Marwan and he says to him, do you think you have the courage to behead me, O Marwan? And now that you talk about threatening me, Hussein ibn Ali, let me tell you, Inna ahlu baytin nubuwa wa ma'adinu risala wa mukhtalaful malaika. We are the Ahlul Bayt of Allah. We are the ones upon whom the angels descend. We are the ones upon whom the treasures of prophethood is embedded within us. And then he goes on to say to Marwan, a person like me shall never give bay'ah to a person like Yazid. And this statement is the declaration of the beginning of an opposition and the revolution of Hussein ibn Ali. As soon as the Bani Hashim heard this, the narrations mention they barged into the house. At the very front is Abu al-Fadil. Imam al-Hussein asks them to lower their weapons. Marwan and Walid are trembling out of fear. Imam al-Hussein, having made his stance very clear, walks out of the house. And over here, there are two important things. Number one, that we understand that Yazid al-La'in was bent upon and was absolutely determined to shed the blood of Imam al-Hussein from day one. Because in his letter to Walid, he says, if he doesn't give bay'ah, behead him. Imam al-Hussein has not left Medina yet. In his house with his family. Violence. Justification of seeking bay'ah by using violence. Number two, this zahiri, apparent announcement of this revolution. The narrations mention that Imam al-Hussein did not stay in Medina for more than 2 weeks after the death of Muawiyah and the so-called inauguration of Yazid. Because Muawiyah dies on the 15th And Imam al-Hussein leaves Medina to go towards Mecca on the 27th of Rajab, which means less than 2 weeks. Imam al-Hussein remained in Medina. The narrations mention he bids his family farewell, and with 30 individuals or 45 individuals, according to other narrators, primarily his family members and some few loyal companions who were with him from the time of Medina, they leave Medina in the darkness of the night, abruptly heading towards Mecca. And while Imam al-Hussein left Medina, he was heard to be reciting this verse of the Quran, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا يَتَرَقَّبْ قَالَ رَبِّي نَجِّنِي مِنَ الْقَوْمِ الظَّالِمِينَ. And he came out of the city, yani Medina, in fear, looking over his shoulders. يَتَرَقَّبْ. This is the same verse of the Quran that Nabi Musa recited when he was fleeing from Fir'aun. And we have 2 majalis, the comparison between the jihad of Imam al-Hussein and the jihad of Nabi Musa, inshallah, in the following nights. Imam al-Hussein comes out reciting the verse. He came out of his city in fear. Look at the words of the Quran. In fear. Yatarakkab, looking over his shoulders, not knowing when and where he will be attacked. Qala, he said, Rabbi, O my Lord, Najjini min al-qawmi al-dhalimin. Grant me salvation from the community of the oppressors. Tayyib. From here, there arises a question. Does it make sense that the Imam is scared for his life? Does it make sense that Imam al-Hussein would be scared of death? Su'al. Walid wants to kill him. There are plots for assassinating Imam al-Hussein inside of Medina. Yazid has sent assassins who are disguised as civilians within the city of Medina, who can kill Imam al-Hussein at any time, which is why he leaves abruptly in the night. And then on top of that, he's reciting the verse of the Quran that he left the city while he was scared. My question to you is, does it make sense that an Imam is scared? Is it possible that the Imam can be scared for his life? Yani, what was there for Imam al-Hussein to fear? How do we answer this question? And it is important that we equip ourselves to these answers, because we live in a time of fitna of aqa'id, where people plant doubts, seeds of doubts in regards to Shi'ism and our true faith. If a person comes and asks, can it be possible that the Imam is scared? Why would he be scared? The answer. Number one, if we say that Imam al-Hussein was scared for his life, in the sense that he did not want to die or was escaping death, and as a result he left Medina, ya'ni Imam left Medina to save his life. This is what the assumption would be. Sahih or la? If this is the assumption, then we say that this assumption is invalidated, because before Imam al-Hussein left Medina, when his brother Muhammad ibn Hanafiya asked him, "O Hussein, why do you leave Medina to go towards Iraq? Indeed, I fear for your life that you may be killed, because the people of Kufa may desert you like the way they deserted your father and your brother." What did Imam al-Hussein say? Sha Allah ayyarani qatila. Imam al-Hussein said, it is the will of Allah that I should be sacrificed and martyred. Meaning what? Imam al-Hussein, before he left Medina, already knew that he is going to get killed. Number one, this is the first answer. Number two, when Imam al-Hussein left Medina to go towards Mecca, you would think that when a person is being sought for and people from the government is trying to assassinate him, if he was fleeing from Medina towards Mecca, would he flee? Would he run away using the main roads, or would he use the inside roads? Person who doesn't want to be detected would not escape from one city to another using the major motorways or major highways. The historians, Sunni and Shia, mentioned that Imam al-Hussein, when he left Medina, went towards Mecca using the major, most well-known travel routes. And anybody who was looking for Imam al-Hussein would know that this is the place to find him. Such that even one of his companions told him, Ya Hussein, don't travel using the main road. Use some of the unknown roads such that you may not be found. Imam al-Hussein insisted that he wants to use the major roads even if he is killed. So we understand from these two answers that Imam al-Hussein was not scared of death. He knew that he was going to die. Then the question is again, if he knew he was going to die, then what was he scared of? Because the verse of the Quran that he recited, فَخَرَجَ مِنْهَا خَائِفًا. What was Imam al-Hussein scared of? Ikhwani, Ahibbai, Imam al-Hussein was not scared of his life. He was not scared of death. He was rather, his fear was that by him being killed inside of Medina prematurely, the revolution of Karbala would be nipped in the bud. And because the revolution of Ashura commemorates the safety, marks the safety and the continuity of Islam, the word fear in the Quran over here means that Imam al-Hussein was fearing, yani he was worried about the safety of this religion. He came out of Medina in fear, in a state of fear, not fear for his own life, fearing for the safety of this religion. Look at how precise this is. And this is something that is mamduh. This is something that is praiseworthy for a person to have concern about the religion. In any case, kalam is tawil, and I don't know how long is the lecture. Maybe do we have time? We don't have time. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. How much time do we have? 10, 15 minutes. For with this, Ahibba is the beginning of the revolution of Imam al-Hussein. He moves from Medina towards Mecca, reaches Mecca on the 4th or the 5th of Sha'ban, and stays there until the day of Arafah, where he moves from Mecca towards Kufa, and then from Kufa to Karbala. My dear brothers and sisters, we commence these nights of Muharram by paying tribute to the first soldier of Bani Hashim that fell as a martyr. This soldier is none other than Muslim bin Aqeel, Imam Muslim bin Aqeel. And they use the term Imam from its linguistic perspective, because he was a leader. The word Imam means leader. And the people gave him bay'ah. In fact, bay'ah to Imam Muslim bin Aqeel signified the bay'ah to Imam al-Hussein. On the day of Arafah, according to majority or a vast number of historians. The narrations mention that Imam al-Hussein had sent Muslim bin Aqeel as his representative to Kufa to harness the support and to see the sincerity of the people of Kufa, and in addition to that, organize and execute a revolution against Bani Umayyah that would pave the way for Imam al-Hussein to come back. And in fact, we have many indications in history that Muslim bin Aqeel, when he went to Kufa, he actively was engaged in mobilizing people around the city of Kufa. And the Muslim bin Aqeel was just not a messenger of Imam al-Hussein, that he was just sent with a letter and monitored the situation. Muslim bin Aqeel was strategic warrior, soldier, an operations manager, if you may call, who knew how to plan revolutions. In any case, Muslim bin Aqeel, abandoned by the people of Kufa after having pledged allegiance to him. The narrations mention that Muslim bin Aqeel, on the night of Arafah, found himself abandoned and deserted in the streets of Kufa. He didn't find safety and he didn't find refuge in any one of the houses except the house of Taw'a. Is a lady by the name of Taw'a. She gave Muslim bin Aqeel safety for one night. But it so happened that this Taw'a, her son, was from one of the soldiers of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, who had put out a bounty for the head of Imam Muslim bin Aqeel. For the narrations mention that when this person, the son of Taw'a, discovered that Muslim was seeking refuge in his house, he went and he told Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad sent Muhammad ibn Ash'ath with 70 horsemen to go and capture Muslim bin Aqeel, dead or alive. It was the time of Salatul Fajr. Muslim bin Aqeel was just completing his Salatul Fajr, supplicating to Allah, when he heard the hooves of the horses and the marching of the soldiers coming towards the house. Lady Taw'a went and said, "O my master Muslim, I know and I can hear the army of Ibn Ziyad coming to capture you. What shall you do? If you want, I shall allow you to escape from the back of the house." Muslim bin Aqeel said to her, "O lady, we are from Bani Hashim. We are from the family of Rasulullah. My uncle is Amir al-Mu'mineen. No way shall I turn my back, and no way shall I flee like a coward who is living a life of humiliation." The narrations mention Muslim bin Aqeel performed the sajda for a final time. He put on his helmet and he wore the battle gear. He took the sword in his right hand. He looked up towards the heavens and he cried out, "Bismillah wa billah wa fi sabilillah wa ala millati rasulillah. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un." This is Muslim bin Aqeel, the Safir of Imam al-Hussein, coming out in jihad. The narrations mention that he came out with his sword and stood in front of the house. The people of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad began to attack Muslim bin Aqeel from every direction. The narrations mention Muslim bin Aqeel was able to kill 41. He killed 41 of these men. In fact, in some of the books of the Maqatil, it mentioned that Muslim bin Aqeel was so strong that he would be able to lift a person and throw him over the rooftop. This was the strength in the body of Muslim bin Aqeel. The narrations mention that when Muslim bin Aqeel killed 41 of them, Muhammad ibn Ash'ath called for a reinforcement of 1,000 foot soldiers. They came and they surrounded Muslim bin Aqeel. They climbed upon the rooftops and they began to attack him from every direction. From one side they were attacking him with swords, and from the rooftops the people began to throw stones on Muslim bin Aqeel. Others began to fire arrows at him, to shoot arrows at him. And the final one, when the armies, despite throwing stones, were not able to stop Muslim, they lit twigs on fire and began to throw it on Muslim bin Aqeel. Muslim continued to fight with valor and with courage. Muhammad ibn Ash'at saw that Muslim could not be defeated, so they began to dig a trench and they covered it with grass, luring Muslim to come forward. As Muslim bin Aqeel continued forward in the jihad, the narrations mention that one of the enemies threw a stone on the head of Muslim bin Aqeel. He stepped into the trench and fell down. Allahu Akbar. The narrations mention that they captured Muslim bin Aqeel. They took him to Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad. Muslim bin Aqeel was bleeding from his face and his head all the way to his feet, covered in wounds. Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad looks at Muslim bin Aqeel. Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad looks at Muslim bin Aqeel, and then the narrations mention that he insulted and he abused Muslim. He abused Amir al-Mu'mineen and Sayyidina Fatima al-Zahra. At this time Muslim bin Aqeel says, "Oh Ibn Ziyad, the enemy of Allah, you are more befitting of these insults than Ali ibn Abi Talib." When Ibn Ziyad heard the name of Amir al-Mu'mineen, he was filled with hatred and a burning rage. He said to Muslim, "I shall kill you in the worst way that somebody has been killed in Kufa." They took Muslim bin Aqeel to the top of Darul Imara. They took him to the top of a castle, at the highest point of the castle. The narrations mention that as he was taken up, his hands were tied behind his back. Muslim bin Aqeel was reciting the tasbih, Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah Allahu Akbar. One of the men who were assigned to behead Muslim bin Aqeel says that I gave Muslim a final request. Muslim bin Aqeel says, "Oh man, give me the opportunity to recite 2 rakat salat." Muslim bin Aqeel recites 2 rakat salat shukr and then turns towards the Makkah and says, "Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah." Peace be upon you, my master, O Aba Abdullah. Allahumma ahkum baynana wa baynal qawm. He says, "Oh Allah, you judge between me and judge between this nation that has betrayed me." Do you know what was the dying sentiment in the heart of Muslim? Do you know what hurt Muslim the most before he was executed? He cried looking towards Makkah and said, "If only I could tell my master Hussein, turn back from Kufa." The narrations mention that the executor stood in front of Muslim bin Aqeel. His hands were tied behind his back. He lifted up his sword. He struck the neck of Muslim bin Aqeel. O Muslimah! The head of Muslim bin Aqeel was separated from the body. The Maktal says they threw the head of Muslim from the top of Babul, from the top of Kasrul Imara, and then they threw the body of Muslim bin Aqeel on the ground. Do not ask me how many bones were broken. They took the lifeless body. Allah, the final part of the Masa'ib. May Allah and Rasulullah reward you for your tears on Muslim bin Aqeel. And as if your hearts are in Kufa, in Masjid al-Kufa with Muslim bin Aqeel. The narrations mention they took the headless body of Muslim bin Aqeel. They tied the legs of his body to a horse. They began to parade it in the city of Kufa. The Muslims are getting ready to celebrate Eid. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. ماتم حسين، ماتم مسلم.
There's no light. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Everyone, Bismillah. It's okay. It's a slow now, please. Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Salamu Ya Hussein, Ya Salamullah ala arbabika Ya Wali, Salamullah ala arbabika Ya Wali, Salamullah ala arbabika Ya Wali, Salamullah ala Ya Wali, Salamullah ala Ya Wali, Asadullah Ali Waliullah Ali Asadullah Ali Allah Ali Ya Haidar इधर या हैदर जिसको अल्लाह रखे दोस्त वो इंसान अली वजहुल्लाह वली रब की है पहचान अली है निशान अली नातिक कुरान अली है मेरे मुर्शिद आका मेरा ईमान अली बरज़ख़ो कब्र में मैं शर्म निगहबान अली दूर कदमों से न रखना मुझे एक आन अली तुझसे जुड़ जाऊंगा मौला तो सवर जाऊंगा मैं तेरे इश्क़ में डूबा तो उभर जाऊंगा सलामुल्लाह अला बाबिक या वली सलामुल्लाह अला अहबाबिका या वली असदुल्लाह अली वली Ali Asadullah Ali Ya Haydar Haydar surkh parcham ke nigehdaar jari ke baba मासूमों के सरदार सभी के बाबा कत्ल मोहसिन के आज़ादार कली के बाबा بی بی کلثوم کے زینب کے مثالی بابا قائم اول محمد کے جلالی بابا سلام اللہ علی ارباب لا علی احباب کا یا ولی اسد اللہ علی اسد اللہ ماشاءاللہ علی یا حیدر یا حیدر دشمن حیدر قرار خدا کا دشمن دشمن رب کا نبی سے نہیں کوئی بندھن ابن مرجان ہو ملجم ہو یا شمر جوشان عرش اور فرش پہ دوزخ کا یہی ہے ایندھن لب قرآن سے ان لوگوں پہ لعنت اتری ان کی نسلوں میں علی سے نہ محبت اتری لعنت اللہ علی اعدائک یا ولی لعنت اللہ علی اعدائک یا ولی اسد اللہ علی ولی اللہ اسد اللہ علی یا حیدر یا حیدر حیدر چار غم میں سے جن پر علی کا گریاؤ پہلا غم حضرت حمزہ کا کلیجہ چھدنا دوسرا غم ابو طالب کا جدا ہو جانا تیسرا غم تھا بڑا رحلت محبوب خدا چوتھا غم تھا غم زہرا جو لحد تک پہنچا دشمنی حیدر کرار کے روکے نہ رکی بدر کی آگ تھی جو کرب و بلا تک پہنچی لعنت اللہ علی اعدائک یا ولی لعنت اللہ علی علی اسد اللہ علی اللہ علی یا حیدر ادھر مقصد عشق علی سرور و ریحان تھا کیا آئیے مسجد کوفہ کی فضاؤں سے صدا عشق کیا عشق تمام بہن خدا ہو بندہ تحفہ جو معشوق سے عاشق کو ملا کامیابی کا یہ انداز نرالا دیکھا بڑھ کے عاشق نے کہا فزت برب الکعبہ سلام اللہ علی یا ولی سلام اللہ علی احبابک یا ولی اسد اللہ علی اسد اللہ ولی اللہ علی یا رب برائے پدر ابا عبداللہ در زہزہ آخر ابا عبداللہ روز عرف کاش کے ظاہر باشام در صحن مطہر ابا عبداللہ سلام اللہ علی احبابک یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا جیو ماتمی مولا سلامت رکھے یا حسین یا حسین یا ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ محرم دنیا میں. ماشاءاللہ جیو مجھے. ہم پوچھتے ہیں ان لوگوں سے جو درد دلوں میں رکھتے ہیں. ہم پوچھتے ہیں ان لوگوں سے جو درد دلوں میں اپنے نبی کی بیٹی کا کیا, اپنے نبی کی بیٹی کا گھر بار جلایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ. یہ ماہ پہ کیا گزری مظلوم میں حسین پہ کیا گزری دنیا کو بتایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم. یہ ماہ ہے. او اہل علم کچھ غور کرو یہ خون ہے قیمت سرمایہ. اہل علم کچھ غور کرو یہ خون ہے قیمت سرمایہ. مظلوم حسین کے ماتم میں, مظلوم حسین کے ماتم میں کیوں خون بہایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں سال دنیا میں جاتا ہے. او مظلوم حسین پہ کیا گزری, مظلوم حسین پہ کیا گزری دنیا کو بتایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ. ہر سال او ہم پوچھتے ہیں ان لوگوں سے جو درد دلوں میں رکھتے ہیں. ہم پوچھتے ہیں ان لوگوں سے جو درد دلوں میں رکھتے ہیں کیا اپنے نبی کی بیٹی کا, کیا اپنے نبی کی بیٹی کا گھر بار جلایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں. بولو ریاضی حسین. ہے یہ ماہ ہو بیتاب تیس گر جھولے میں رہ جاؤں کہیں نہ میں پیچھے. بیتاب تیس گر جھولے میں رہ جاؤں کہیں نہ میں پیچھے. شوق شہادت چے ماں کے, شوق شہادت چے ماں کے بچے میں بھی پایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ. دنیا میں ہر سال منایا او مظلوم حسین پہ کیا گزری، مظلوم حسین پہ کیا گزری، دنیا کو بتایا جاتا ہے یہ ماں. جیو ماتمی مولا سلامت رکھے. یہ ماہ محرم. آخری پرسہ. یہ ماہ محرم ہو قاسم کی تمنا تھی پہلے وہ اپنی جان نثار کرے، قاسم کی تمنا تھی پہلے وہ اپنی جان نثار کرے، دوڑا کے گھوڑے لاشوں پہ، دوڑا کے گھوڑے لاشوں پہ پامال کرایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم، دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ ماہ محرم، دنیا میں ہر سال ماہ محرم دنیا میں ہر سال منایا جاتا ہے یہ حیا علی خیر العمل، حیا علی العمل، حیا علی خیر 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 العمل، یا خیر العمل. حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، حسین یا حسین یا حسین، وہ عابد بیمار تھا چلنے سے جولا جیو، اور شام کا بازار تھا ہے مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیا، مولا حق امام یا حسن ہے مولا یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین. آخری پرسہ آخری پرسہ. یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین، ہو شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی سینے پہ جو شاک پلی، جس کی ابا بن میں جلی منہ پر تمام، مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین، مولا حق یا حسین حسین. اللہم صلی علی محمد و آل محمد.
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. السلام عليك يا